In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Hello and welcome, my dear students, to our lesson today, which is going to be about Unit 2, Form, Meaning and Function, and Unit 3, Listen and Discuss, Grammar and Conversation. Let's start by seeing the objectives of today's lesson. Today, inshallah, we will form sentences about counting and duration. Then, we will form sentences about an action that started in the past, answer questions about the text, okay, use the real talk phrases in new sentences, and finally, inshallah, we will talk about also telling and responding to a joke. Telling and responding to a joke. Let's start our lesson, of course, by seeing form, meaning, and function on pages 30 and 31. Okay, and today, inshallah, when we talk about form, meaning, and function, of course, we are going to talk about grammar. Okay, we are going to talk about grammar and how we can use this grammar, okay, with sentences. Let's start. We will talk about the present perfect progressive, and we are going to know what do we mean by the progressive and the present perfect simple. Of course, what is the difference between these two tenses here? Okay, present perfect progressive and the present perfect simple. Let's start. We use the present perfect progressive tense, okay, to talk about what? To talk about an action that started in the past, okay, and has a connection with the present time, okay, started in the past and has a connection, okay, in the present time. And the action may or may not have finished. May or may not have finished. Also, we use the present perfect progressive, okay, just let's number it, okay. We use them, and this is number 2, okay. We use the present perfect progressive to emphasize. What do I mean by emphasize here? To focus, okay? To focus the results of the action. The results, okay? Focus on the results. Also, we use the present perfect progressive to say how long, okay? So I'm talking about duration, okay? How long something has been happening, okay? Something has been happening. This is number 3, okay? And finally, what about with the use of present perfect symbol, okay? Here, when I'm talking about the symbol, we use it to say how many things have been done. How many, okay? So the first one, we use the progressive to talk about, to say how long, okay, the duration or the length of time, and the symbol we use it to say, okay, how many, okay, I'm talking about quantity here, okay, to use it talk about how many things have been done, okay. For example, let's see. This is the present perfect progressive here, okay, as you can see, the progressive. Now, how long have you been learning to ski? Okay, now I'm asking about duration. How long? Okay, I have been learning how to ski for 6 months. Okay, for 6 months, as you can see here. So here I'm talking about the duration. What about symbol? Okay, here I have attended 5 cross-country skiing events. Okay, I have attended. Of course, how we can form these two tenses here. We have the progressive and the symbol, of course, as you can see, have been, and as you can see, the verb with the ing, okay. Then we should write this one, okay. The verb have, okay. This is the rule, okay. Also, been, okay, and what? Plus verb with the ing. What about the present perfect symbol? How can I form the present perfect symbol here? Of course, as you can see, I have attended, okay. Then have, talking about the symbol here, plus the past participle or the V3, as you can see here. I have attended 5 cross-country skiing events, okay, skiing events. Very good. Now, Let's move to the expression how long. We said that to ask about duration, okay? But now let us see, okay, how we can use for, and of course, as you can see here, since. Use the present perfect progressive, okay, with for, okay? Why? To indicate the duration, to indicate, okay, the duration of the action for 2 months, okay, or sometime 2 years, or 3 hours, okay? So here to indicate the duration. We use also present perfect progressive with since, okay, to indicate what? When the action begins. So I'm talking here about a specific time, okay, a point of time, okay, when the action began, okay? Since yesterday, or since last June, for example, or since 2010. Okay, so I'm talking about here a specific point of time, and you know when it started, actually, when it began. Okay, so the difference between for and since, we use for duration, okay, and we use since to talk about, to indicate action when the action started actually or began. Okay. Also, we use the present perfect progressive with all, okay, as you can see, and so on, to talk about the duration of the action, okay, which may or may not have finished. Okay, for example, I have been studying all day. I have been studying all day. Okay, why? Because I'm talking about the duration of the action, which may or may not have finished. Okay, may not have finished. All week, all month, I have been studying all week. Okay, so here I used all, and so on. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, and of course, all my life, for example, I'm talking about the whole life, as you can see here. Okay, so this is the difference between using for, since, and all when I'm asking about how long. Okay, then let's move to adverbs of manner. Okay, what do I mean by adverbs? You know that in English, okay, we have adjectives and adverb, part of speech, as we mentioned earlier. Okay, but today we have adverbs. Okay, we use it to describe verbs. We use it to describe verbs. But here today, we use this one, I'm talking about these adverbs, okay, adverbs of manner express, okay, at put or underline, okay, this one, how something is done, okay, express how something is done, okay. For example, they are normally formed by adding ly. How can I form or add the adverb, okay, from the adjective, for example, by adding ly at the end of the adjective to an adjective, as you can see. How did he explain? How did he explain? He explained carefully. Now look here. Okay, careful. Okay, so carefully here, the adverb from careful, which is the adjective, okay, which is the adjective. Also, sometimes an adjective and adverb have the same form. I'm talking about fast and hard. Okay, so here we'll use fast, for example, and hard, okay, as an adjective or as an adverb. Okay, so look here, he's a fast runner. He is a fast runner. This is an adjective. Why? Because I am describing a noun or describing someone. Okay, but here he runs fast. Actually, this one is an adverb. Why? Because I am describing the verb runs. Okay, he runs fast. Okay, this is an adverb. Look at hard. He is a hard worker. A hard worker. Okay, and he works hard. He works hard. As I said earlier, we describe works here, and in this one, fast, we describe runs. Okay, so this is the difference between this is when we use fast and hard as an adjective and as an adverb. Okay, the adverb form of good is well, not better or best. Okay, you should remember this. Okay, the adverb form of good, okay, is what? Is well. Okay, so for example, can Ali dive? Can Ali dive? Yes, he is a good diver, or he dives really well. Okay, really well. Because I know Ali is a good diver. Okay, a good diver. So I'm using this one here. Okay, this adjective to describe Ali, of course. And here I'm using well, okay, to describe how can Ali dive actually. Okay, how can he dive? So he dives really well. Really well. Very good. Now, the last thing of form, meaning, and function now, comparative forms of adjectives and adverbs. Now, when I'm talking about comparative here, we use it to compare between things, people, or even, for example, when I'm talking about animal or anything you want, okay? So, comparative forms of adjectives and adverbs, as you can see here, we use it with one syllable, okay? What about the one syllable here? The adjectives I'm talking, or the adverb, is formed how? By adding ER. By adding ER. Look, slow, slower, fast, faster, hard, harder, okay? Also, some, okay, this is number one, and let's say number two here. Some comparative forms of adjectives are irregular, okay? Like what? Like good and bad, of course. Look, good and bad. When I say, for example, when you compare between two things or two people, and we want to say that one is better, okay, than. Okay, when I'm using good, I'm talking about the adjective. I'm describing this one or comparing between these people or something like that. I have to use better and worse. Okay. The comparative form of most two or more syllable adjectives are what? Number three. Okay. Here I'm talking about two or more syllable. Okay. Adjectives and adverbs, we use with them more. Okay. We use more difficult. Okay. For example, as you can see, more carefully. I cannot use ER with them. Okay, because I'm talking here about two or more syllable. Okay, two or more syllable. Now, what about adjective comparative here? The youngest athletes was faster than all others. Okay, all the others. And football is more thrilling than basketball. Now I'm talking about the comparative. What about adverb? How we can compare adverb? The man climbed higher. Okay, look at here. When we're talking about when you spell or pronounce climb, okay, the B is silent. The B is silent here. Climbed higher and higher up the mountain. Also, the earthquake got stronger and the walls shook more violently. Okay, like when talking violently here with more force. Okay, or power. Okay, very good. Now, the last thing we have here also, we're using than and as adjective as you can see. For example, let's add this one. Okay, how we are going to do this actually? We use, number one, than. We use than. Why? Okay, to compare two people, animals, things, and ideas. Okay, and we use as. Okay, when they have the same or they are equal. Okay, so for example here, use as and as to show two items are the same in some way. They are the same. Okay, they are the same. While here we use than to compare two people or animals. Okay, or situations. But here we use as. For example, as you can see, skiing is as dangerous as. Okay, so I have to use the adjective. And if they are not equal, or they are not the same way, they are not equal in the same way, I have to use not. Okay, for example, we use not, as you can see here, okay, before as. not as, okay? The fold-up bicycle is not as bulky as a regular bicycle, okay? We used not before as. We used not before as. Now, let's move to Unit 3, Laugh Out Loud, as you can see here. Now, I want you to look at these 3 questions. Number 1, what TV show or comedian makes you laugh the most and why? Okay, you need to think about these questions. Number 2, what is the funniest joke you know? Number 3, what do you think makes a joke funny? Makes a joke funny. Okay, so you need to think about these 3 questions. Then inshallah, we will move to the next slide here on pages 34 and 35, doing the exercise with the vocabulary. Complete the sentences with one of these words. Okay, let's start with astonished. Okay, bilingual, fascinated, irritated, puzzled, and remarkable. Okay, now let's see the answers. Someone who can speak both. Speak both. Now I'm looking for keywords. Talking about keywords here, okay? Can speak both Arabic and English. What can we call him? Okay, so we can call him bilingual. Bilingual. Someone who is amazed at something. And we mentioned that in the previous lesson, if you remember, okay? It means astonished, okay? Amazing, astonished, outstanding. Number 3, something is incredible, okay? And can also be called what? Called remarkable. It's easy to be noticed, okay? Easy to be noticed. Number 4, someone who is confused by something, okay? Puzzled. And 5, someone who is annoyed. Annoyed, it means get angry very fast or gets angry very quickly. Something is irritated, as you can see. Number 6, someone who is very interested in something, and we call him fascinated, okay? Fascinated. Very good. Now let's move to the comprehension. Answer the questions, okay? Number 1, how is the word bilingual used in a humorous way in the joke about the mice? Number 2, why was the student at the lecture theater amazed by the parrot? 3, why was the parrot owner surprised? And why is this funny? 4, how did the second truck driver interrupt, okay, the first truck driver's request? Okay, here 5, why shouldn't the snail and grasshopper have sent the centipede out for the pizza? Okay, now let's see the answers. Let's start with number 1. It implies that cat and mouse are 2 different languages, okay, when I'm talking about bilingual. Number 2, the parrot showed human reactions, okay, to the lecture as if he understood everything. Number 3, the owner was surprised that the parrot liked the lecture so much since he didn't like the class. It's funny because we don't expect a parrot, okay, to attend the classes. 4, he took the penguins to the zoo for a visit, okay, rather than leave them there to be an exhibit. 5, because it takes a long time for the centipede to put shoes on his many legs or feet. Okay, many legs or feet. Very good. Now, we'll move to grammar on pages 36 and 37. And actually, we are going to talk about the past and the present participle adjectives. Okay, so as I said earlier, we use adjective for what? But this is something different. Past and present participle. Okay, adjectives. We are going to use the adjectives here as past and the present participle. Okay, now look. The past participle and the present participle forms of a verb can be used as an adjective. okay, can be used as what? As an adjective. Let's see. The past participle generally, number one, the past participles generally end in ed. You should know that. Okay, you should know that. But sometimes it can also end with d, t, en, or even n. And describe what? And describe how someone's feels. Okay, so I'm describing feels now using the ed, the past participle. What about the present participle? Number two, the present participles always end, always, all the time, okay, end in ing. And it describes what? Describe what causes the feeling. Okay, what causes the feeling? For example, the mice were frightened of the cat. Frightened. Okay, frightened is the verb. Okay, frightened by the past participle. Okay, so I use it as an adjective. Okay, here frightened also is the verb. Okay, frightening. Okay, is the present participle because it ends with the ing. The cat was frightening. Okay, so what causes this? Okay, being the mice frightened here because of the cat. Okay, the cat was frightening. As you can see here, I use the present participle to describe what causes the feeling. Okay, of course, participle adjectives can appear after participle adjectives. Okay, can appear, okay, or show after be. Okay, so when I'm talking about be, it means I'm using am, for example, or is, or even are. Okay, or in front of nouns, in front, either after be or in front of nouns. Look, my grandfather's stories about his childhood are amusing. Look, be, after be. And my grandfather tells amusing stories. Look, stories, noun, okay, after or before the noun, about his childhood. Good. Now, sometimes we use get with the adjectives, and guys, in English, get has many meaning. Okay, for example, when you reach a distance, okay, you would, for example, I got to the home, for example, early. I got home early. Okay, so here I use get as with adjective and get with the past participle for what? Okay, get before an adjective, we use get before an adjective or past participle, suggests what? That something is changing or starting to happen. Okay, so if I used get before, okay, an adjective or before the past participle, as you can see here, we suggest that something is changing or something starting to happen. Now let's see how you can use get, okay, before the adjective. Look, get can be followed by an adjective. Okay, for example, the grasshopper and the snail got impatient. Okay, an adjective, impatient. Waiting for the centipede. Okay, waiting for the centipede. It's almost time for me to give my presentation. I am starting now. Okay, something starting to happen. Okay, I am getting nervous. Okay, we said that something is changing, got impatient, and something or starting to happen like getting nervous. Okay, like getting nervous. What about get and the past participle we talked about? Get can also be followed by a past participle, okay, which functions as an adjective. The past participle we talked about earlier, okay, like in the frightened. Okay, we're going to see how now we use this one with get. You should put on sunscreen. you are getting sunburned. Okay, you are getting sunburned. And my mother gets worried. Look, worried here is the past participle. If I'm not home by 10 p.m. Okay, for example, 10 p.m. Okay, so this is the difference between get and plus the adjective and get plus the past participle. Now, using the, okay, and the, of course, for comparatives. What do I mean by this? Okay, using the and the. Okay, here, as you can see, I am using this, okay, is used with two comparatives, okay, when I'm talking about two comparatives, to say that the first thing, the first, okay, number one, okay, for example, thing has an effect on the second, okay, has an effect on the second. Number two, okay, so I use two comparatives, okay, to say that the first one or the first thing, okay, has an effect. You should know that, okay, effect on the second. Okay, let's look. The longer, number one, the longer the telephone call, okay, the bigger the telephone bill. Okay, so if you called for a long time, okay, then you have to pay more money. I'm talking about, okay, I'm talking about the bill here. The bigger the telephone bill. I'm using here the adjective, as you can see, comparative. Okay, number two, the funnier, again, the funnier the joke, the harder the audience laughs. Okay, the harder the audience laughs. Number three, the more I get to know my classmates, the better I like them. As you can see, affect, the first thing affect or has an effect on the second. Okay, the longer the telephone call, okay, this is the first one. And what is the second? Of course, it will affect on the telephone bill. Okay, the bigger the telephone bill. Also, number two, the funnier the joke. Okay, this is number one. Number two, the harder the audience laughs. And number three, the more I get to know my classmates. If you have friends, new friends, and you are having a good experience with them, what will happen, of course? The better I like them. Okay, so the first one has an effect on the second one. Okay, very good. Now, let's go to the conversation here. Okay, this is how you can use the real talk in what? In sentences, in real life. But first, let us have or to know the meaning about this one. To tell you the truth, it means that you are going to start, okay, to tell you exactly how I feel. Okay, I'm getting to the point now, for example, or something like I'm getting to something that annoyed, okay, or annoying or bothering. Cheer you up, make you feel happier. I want to cheer you up, okay, make you happy. Killer, which is something like, here, as you can see, sometimes we use idioms or expressions, okay, with have a negative meaning sometimes, and sometimes with affirmative meaning, of course. Killer here is not like something that's bad, okay, no, it's a killer joke, okay, or something great or amazing. Blow me away, it's really impressed me, something really I liked, blow me away, okay. Finally, now we will talk about telling and responding to joke. How can I tell a joke or how can I respond to a joke? First, you can use I have a good one. Listen, I have a good one. Okay, then you will tell your joke. Okay, or did you hear the one about? Did you hear the one about? Then you will start telling the joke. This guy walks into a, okay, as you can see here what I'm talking about, okay, for this guy walks into a, and something you have to complete. The present simple tense is often used, okay, so when I'm telling a joke, okay, you should use the present simple tense, okay, in a joke, telling to make the situation feel more immediate, like in the present time, okay, like in the present time. Did you get it? I don't get it. If you understand or if you don't understand, okay, or if you didn't understand the joke. Did you get it? Okay, so the one who tells the joke, okay, will ask you, did you get it? Did you understand the joke? And when you respond, okay, so respond using I don't get it. It means I did not understand this joke. Okay, very good. Now we have finished. Let's go back to the objectives. Okay, form sentences about counting and duration. We did that. Form sentences about an action that started in the past. When I'm talking about the present progressive, present perfect progressive, and the present perfect simple. Answer questions about the text. Use the real talk phrases in new sentences. Finally, telling and responding to joke. I would like to thank all of you for watching us today, and inshallah I will see you at the next lesson. Goodbye.